What's up, Internet? Welcome back. This is Inter22. The backlog is an interesting concept that many gamers use. It's a way to organize your content so that you could eventually play all of the games that you think deserve your time. But sometimes the backlog can get kind of full. And since we're kind of at a time where we might have a lot of time to play video games, I think it's a great time to talk about a backlog. And I'm going to talk about 3 games on my backlog that I plan to check out. But before I get into it, let me just remind you guys that this is a forum discussion video. So leave down your backlog games down below for discussion and subscribe for more content. Maintaining a backlog is probably one of the nerdiest things I do in regards to video games. And I mean, when I say one of, I mean just one of many. I've always tried to look at better ways to organize my collection or organize games I do want to play but maybe don't have. And I've looked at websites, and I believe one's called Backloggery or something like that, or apps that are on the App Store, and none of them do justice because I feel like I'm a little nervous that these apps will just kind of disappear. So I've always kind of assumed the best way was to just pull out a spreadsheet and do everything old-fashioned. I just wish there was a way to sync it up with some sort of, I don't know, database or something. That would be pretty sweet. But like I said, this episode is going to be about 3 games that I have on my backlog that I plan on taking care of fairly soon. So the first one is actually not a game itself, because I have been playing this game every now and then, but it's a mode within this game that kind of is long. And that is Super Smash Bros. For the Switch. And it's the Spirit mode, the story mode that's inside of this game. It's kind of interesting. It's like this really big painted board that you kind of move around, and each dot on the board is a fight, but the fight has like a scenario where they changed up the settings a little bit. They use different spirits, and if you don't know what spirits are in Super Smash Bros. Because you've kind of ignored that, it's basically like a picture of a character from anywhere in the video games world, and that picture will have different attack power, defense power, and maybe even a special ability. And then there are other spirits that will only have a special ability that you combine with these other spirits, and sometimes these main spirits will have like 1 to 3 different openings for other spirits to connect to them, and you use these as ways to make the fight easier for you, maybe more in your favor. For example, if you're fighting a character who maybe is metal and extremely strong, then you can use a spirit that has, I don't know, a high attack power or something like that. But you can connect a supporting spirit that makes you stronger against metal opponents, and it will help you dramatically in the game. When I first played this, I did not understand what I was doing wrong, but then I quickly found out that what I was doing that was absolutely wrong was I was picking one spirit that I liked, and I was just leveling it up, and that's it. I was like, all right, this is my spirit for the rest of the game. I like this character. I'm gonna go this way. Then I found out, after giving up and just not really enjoying it, that you kind of have to look around, you kind of have to strategize, you need to figure out what spirits to use. So I started powering up a bunch of other spirits, and that's when I found out, oh, okay, so when you collect those spirits, you should be powering them all up, and it got a little bit funner that way, and I actually enjoy it. Now, I've been putting it off, so now it's on my backlog. I plan to finally burn through it. In fact, I've actually not played much online because of this mode, and now it's going to be my opportunity, because once I finish this and I'm going to feel complete, I will purchase the DLC so I can have all the characters, and I plan to start taking my adventures online. This game is so fully packed, I just cannot wait to make that happen. The next game is Bayonetta 2. Now, Bayonetta 1 is a pretty awesome game, but it's not a game you want people watching you play, and I don't think I really need to say why, and just watch the playthrough and you'll know exactly what I mean. The problem is when I got Bayonetta 1, it actually came free with Bayonetta 2, and I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna play through Bayonetta 1 first. I bought this on the Wii U, and I played it. It was awesome, and then once I finished, I was like, all right, Bayonetta 2, I'm ready. And then I realized I was burned out. So, it's on my backlog, and I want to play it, and now I think it's a good opportunity to play it. That means I gotta bust out my Wii U, and the reason why I haven't played this is because my Wii U is tucked away. But if I'm gonna be self-isolating, just like many of my peers, then I think this is a great opportunity to finally bust out my Wii U and play that game. And you know what, there's actually a couple of other games on my Wii U, but I will leave this game as my number 2 at the moment. Thankfully, it's on the Wii U, so I can play everything on a controller. So like I said, it's a game I don't really want just playing on the big screen. But it's a fun game. If you've looked into it and you were kind of like, I don't really want to play a game that looks like that, trust me, it's actually really fun. I mean, it got a 10 from IGN, right? I mean, that must be this pretty good, but I digress. And finally, the last game that's on my list is actually an arcade game. So it's NBA Hang Time, and I'm talking about the arcade version. I used to love the Genesis version so much. It was one of my favorite games. And then once I moved on from the Genesis, I did play the Nintendo 64 version, played quite a bit of it. And then I never touched that game for many years. Then I recently messed around with emulation on my Surface tablets. And because it's so easy to emulate on a tablet like that, a Windows tablet, that I really got into some games that I've missed out on. Well, now's my chance to really dive into this game. I've played a couple matches, and man, this game is so fun. The sounds are perfect. The announcer, like, oh my god, it brings back everything. But I've never truly delved into the arcade version because I didn't really have that many quarters to be dropping on this game. I believe it costs money to create your character alone and updated stats. So yeah, having it on emulation makes that a lot easier. And by the way, if you're into this game, definitely check out the arcade 1-up. They're going to come out with it, I believe, in the holiday. I wish I could fit that arcade in my house. And even if I could fit the arcade, to be honest, I probably would go for a Sega one. And then put RetroPie in it. And then eventually get this Hang Time game in it. But that's beside the point. I'm really stoked for this. Excited to see where this goes. Well, the arcade 1-up model. It connects online, by the way. So I'm glad to see arcade 1-up is doing an idea of putting these online. It would be interesting if they released an arcade 1-up branded one and you can buy games for it, but I'm not sure if many people would get behind that. It would be interesting. I would like to see if they were to do that. But that's, once again, beside the point. I want to talk about these 3 games that are on my backlog, and I actually want to hear what your backlog is. I want to hear what games you plan on playing, what games maybe you've started playing. Let me know down below. And if you like discussion videos much like this one, subscribe for more content, and I'll be back with more.